Well, what I find so interesting still, and this is why we believe that the SEC will lose the grayscale case, how can you approve a Bitcoin futures ETF and not a Bitcoin ETF? And in fact, if you're really thinking about consumer protection, a futures ETF is swap space. So there's counterparty risk there that you would not have with a Bitcoin ETF, which is backed one-to-one with Bitcoin in Coinbase's cold storage. It still confounds me.
Today, we have the latest interview with the CEO of ARK Invest, Cathie Wood, providing us with a market update for 2023, as well as her insights into the recent news with Bitcoin. Wood highlights the growing discrepancy between the approval of a Bitcoin futures exchange-traded fund and the hesitance towards Bitcoin itself. She points out that while a Bitcoin ETF introduces counterparty risk due to the nature of swaps, a Bitcoin ETF backed directly by the cryptocurrency itself eliminates this risk. Wood suggests that consumer protection has been the priority of regulators and discusses the transparency and security of being backed one-to-one with Bitcoin, stored in reliable institutions like Coinbase. Wood's perspective on Bitcoin's role as a hedge against both inflation and the potential confiscation of wealth is unchanged, pointing out that it also acts as a safeguard against counterparty risk. These were major concerns that gained prominence during the financial crisis of 2008 to 2009 and resurfaced during recent economic uncertainties. Wood does express confidence in the Securities and Exchange Commission and believes multiple Bitcoin ETFs might receive approval simultaneously. As ARK Invest plans to be heavily involved in Bitcoin and crypto in the coming months, the rest of 2023 is predicted to be a massive rally before the Bitcoin halving in March of 2024. Let's get right into the latest interview with Cathie Wood, as she shares her perspectives on Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and her investment thesis for the rest of the year. Don't forget to share your thoughts and comments down below, and leave a like if you enjoy the content we do here.
Well, if you think about it, Bitcoin serves as two kinds of hedges. One is a hedge against inflation and outright confiscation of wealth. The other is against counterparty risk. And when the regional banks started going down, this fear our memories are fresh with 08, 09, the counterparty risk became real. And so there was this flight into Bitcoin, a completely decentralized, transparent network, which is not subject to counterparty risk.
The first important deadline coming up is August 13th, where the ARK filing, the SEC is either going to delay it, which we think they'll probably delay it. What's your take on how this will play out, given you filed earlier?
I think you're probably right that August 13th will come and go. And I think the SEC, if it's going to approve a Bitcoin ETF, will approve more than one at once. So then, again, because most of these essentially will be the same, and it will come down to marketing, communicating the message. We've been putting out our Bitcoin monthly for the last year. We are now starting a Bitcoin brainstorming session. Our first one we launched last Thursday. So we're trying to get the word out there that our research is deep. And we've been doing it since 2015 when we gained our first exposure to GBTC. We were the first public asset manager to gain exposure to Bitcoin at all in 2015. The two other branches of government, the judicial branch and the legislative branch, are giving the SEC pause because the SEC is losing cases in court having to do with its regulations around crypto. That's the first thing. And there are bills that are making their way through the House and are seeing some bipartisan support. I do believe that Gary Gensler, I guess last week or 10 days ago, said something like, well, I'm not the only one who makes this decision. There are 5 commissioners. Now, of course, we know they're weighted towards the Democrats, 3 Democrats, 2 Republicans. And so one assumes that the way that Gary votes is the way the FCC will vote. But he seemed to be distancing himself a little bit, and so maybe we can take that as a bit of a clue. We think that it is the most regulatory compliant exchange out there, and we've been very pleased with how its derivatives exchange in Bermuda has ramped in here. It's very early days, but again, clearly a trusted partner. And we are also seeing that there's more turmoil out there, I guess. Hubei, I think that's how you say the name of the exchange, and Tether and Binance. There are rumblings out there that not is all is well. And so Coinbase is going to be the flight to safety exchange, no doubt about it.
And do you think the surveillance agreements with Coinbase are going to be enough to deal with things like price manipulation in this market? I mean, that's been one of the main concerns from the SEC lawyers with whom we've spoken.
Well, what I find so interesting still, and this is why we believe that the SEC will lose the grayscale case, how can you approve a Bitcoin futures ETF and not a Bitcoin ETF? And in fact, if you're really thinking about consumer protection, a futures ETF is swap space. So there's counterparty risk there that you would not have with a Bitcoin ETF, which is backed one-to-one with Bitcoin in Coinbase's cold storage. It still confounds me.
What are your expectations for their growth from here on out?
Well, as you know, we have a 5-year investment time horizon, and we do think the cycle for autos is going to get tougher in here generally. But we think just like last year when electric vehicles were up 69% or 65%, something like that, and gas-powered vehicles down 7% globally, we think we're going to continue to see that share shift accelerate because electric vehicle prices are going to follow their costs down in a way that gas-powered cars cannot. So we think that electric vehicles will be less expensive, and they are better cars than gas-powered vehicles. So we think they're going to take tremendous share. And even if the auto market relapses in here, which we think it could, we don't think electric vehicles will relapse. So we think the 1.8 million for this year, which was Elon said 1.8 to 2 million, they're going to have some shutdowns in the third quarter for maintenance and upgrades. And so he lowered his expectation to the lower end of that range. I think he likes to lower expectations and then beat. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's higher than that.
Wood highlights the challenges faced by the FCC in regulating cryptocurrencies. She says that recent court cases and bipartisan bills in Congress have prompted the FCC to carefully consider its crypto regulations. She believes that SEC Chairman Gary Gensler may not actually be the sole decision-maker in these matters, suggesting a degree of uncertainty in the regulatory outlook. Wood also expresses unwavering trust in Coinbase, considering it a reliable and regulatory compliant exchange. She does, however, acknowledge potential concerns surrounding other stablecoins and exchanges, highlighting Coinbase's security as a safe haven during market turmoil. As the crypto ecosystem continues to evolve, recent market dynamics have posed challenges for crypto adoption, as sovereign wealth waits in the balance for regulation, something that Cathie Wood and ARK Invest will be keeping a close eye on. What do you think about the latest interview with Cathie Wood? And how does the crypto landscape change in the last months of 2023? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content just like this. We'll see you in the next video.